and welcome to the Clearing the Creative podcast. I'm Katie, and I am here to help people with their creative blocks, to figure out what's in the way, to figure out what are the limiting beliefs. How can we replace that? What are some practical steps that can be taken towards that? I have amazing conversations with people who are brave and awesome enough to be vulnerable with their issues, to share for the world. I love it. And to let me speak to that. I listen to my intuition. I listened to the magic inside of me that guides me to know what questions to ask and how to dig deep. And it's been such a powerful journey. This conversation is with Janne, a lovely, lovely lady who has frustration in her life, in her heart, in not knowing what her purpose is, how to connect with the right people, who the right people are for her to try to connect with. She is so capacitous and so full of love from her own journey, and that is such a valuable thing. We learn compassion from the experiences that we've had, and I was able to give her some encouragement. And I just want to honor the vulnerability and rawness that she showed. I know this conversation is going to be meaningful for others out there. And let's just jump in, shall we?
Hello, so nice to be part of your podcast. Thank
you. So, can you give us a little introduction of yourself?
Yes. So my name is Janne and I'm from Norway. I am a meditation teacher, and just a few months ago I started my own company doing that. So it's I'm still trying to find out what that is, and I think that's where my, can you say, blockage or issue lies, that I'm searching for what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. Yeah.
So like the company helps. I'm off to a roaring start, aren't I? So the company, you're not quite sure if it's the right fit for you. What is it? Is it something to do with the business itself that's feeling really hard and fuzzy?
It's more like now I'm my own boss, so I can make all the decisions, decide everything myself. So I feel like I'm searching for my purpose. And because this is something I've been battling with since I can remember, since high school, when we were to choose what to study and I didn't know what to pick. So I just picked the most general study I could find in the hope that something in that would spark a joy with me. And then I went on to university again with the broadest study I could find, and still felt like it wasn't the perfect match, but I didn't know what to swap it for, so I just kept going. So I ended up becoming a geophysicist of everything, and worked a bit in the oil industry, and then started working with health and safety. And I enjoyed that more, but still was like it wasn't exactly what I was supposed to do. And then I experienced burnout 2 times. And the second time, just a couple of years ago, I was like, okay, this is it. Now I need to find out why this keeps happening to me. So that's when I started studying meditation. And now I decided to leave that job and just take a leap of faith and start my own thing, which like I said, I'm not sure what is yet, but that's where I'm at now, trying to figure it out.
So meditation did you learn about meditation while you were kind of recovering from the burnout phase?
Yeah, that was a big part of helping me to decide that the job I had was not right for me, and to kind of dig a little deeper into what is meaningful to me. And I feel like I'm onto something, but I haven't been able to kind of grasp what it is yet. But I feel I am absolutely on the right path. I'm just a bit impatient because I
Yeah.
want to know what it is now.
And how long have you had this meditation entrepreneurship business?
Just since January I had
Okay.
it, and
So it's still a baby. This project is still a
it's
baby.
yes, it's very much a baby.
Mm.
And I'm not finished with the study either, because I decided I took the longest, biggest meditation teacher study I could find, because I was like, no, I'm gonna learn this properly all the way. So I've got until January until that is finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, while figuring out how to do a business while you're still learning how to do the business, and what's the hardest part about like the business itself that you just did not see coming?
I think some of the hardest is being visible. I think like doing this we're doing right now is very out of the comfort zone for me, and it's scary. But I have this I'm on this app platform, Insight Timer, where I do lives sometimes. And in the beginning it was just terrible, or I was so nervous and it was not nice at all. But as I've kept doing it, I'm actually enjoying it now. So I think if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have said yes to doing this with you, because that would have been too much of a step out of the comfort zone. But now I feel like I was kind of ready to put my face on a podcast for the first time ever. Um, so I think that's difficult, and also not having anyone telling me what to do. That is can be quite um, overwhelming sometimes, because
Mm,
it's all up to me, everything.
right.
Mm.
So being visible, being being able to say to people, this is my offering, this is what this is the results that you can get from working with me. Are you going to be kind of like a meditation coach, or is that what you are already doing?
And that's part of the big questions. I don't know exactly what I want to be doing.
Mm,
Other than now, on this app, I give lives, I meditation lives, where we talk a bit about what you can achieve from the particular meditation I'm doing that day, and also have some tracks out some people can listen to. And I enjoyed that, but it's more like, okay, how do I take that further? Yeah, will I become a meditation coach type, or will I have a bigger course on some topic, or yeah, will I have a
mhm.
membership community thing, or there's just so many options. And so I don't know. And I wish I did know. Like, I wish I had this passion for, like, yes, this is it. That's where I'm going, and just go 100% for that. But that's what I'm hoping. I'll get this like epiphany one day where I'm just like, oh yeah, of course, that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing. Mm.
So as you were talking, I was remembering these other podcasts I've listened to. And are you familiar with like near death experience or phenomenon?
I've heard about it, but please explain.
Well, when people have either like died for a few minutes or longer, or nearly died, there's often this like superpower that comes out of that, like often manifesting in like psychic abilities. It's so cool. Um, but in a way, burnout is a kind of death, because it's a death of, "Hey, this old normal doesn't work anymore.
Mm.
I have to readjust." And so I wonder, and another great gift that comes out of any kind of suffering, any kind of loss, physical loss, idea loss, whatever, is a compassion for other people who've experienced that. Because before you had your burnout, you could never look at someone else and be like, oh, I really get it. You're like, work harder. What's the matter with you? I push through. Why don't you just push through? It's so
Yeah. It's so sad that we have to go through it to really understand. You can always have sympathy and empathy when someone's hurting, but you don't really get it until you've been there yourself, unfortunately. Yeah.
yeah. So just putting that out there, that possibly young professionals in that are headed towards or are in the midst of or are trying to put their pieces back together around a burnout, they could be your people.
They could. Another thing just that came out of all of this, after I started the meditation and decided to leave the old job, this wish came like from within, because I've been on antidepressants for like 7 years or something, and I got this like desire to find out who I was without those medications. So in September last year, I took my final dose after having tapered down slowly and done it as you should. You have to be careful with that. And it was really hard getting off them. It was a lot of withdrawal symptoms and all sorts of problems. But I'm so glad that I did that, because I kind of got to rediscover who I am. And there was this particular moment where me and my husband was sitting and listening to music a Saturday evening, and he said, "Oh, it's so nice that we can do this again." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Well, it's been years since we've done this, just listening to music." And I was like, "That's true. I used to listen to music all the time before, but then it's like my medicated self was not so into that anymore." So that's what's pretty like, whoa, okay, so what other things have been like taken away
in
with
the
that
medicated state?
Yeah.
Did you feel the need to just be doing something all the time?
It's hard to say. Yeah, maybe, or a bit like not finding calmness in a way, I guess. It's really hard to think back how I was, because I was on it for such a long time, so it became the norm. But it's more like when he tells me things that I see like, oh yeah, you're right, I didn't think about that. Because I never felt really, I didn't feel really flat, but I do feel when I look back that my mood was lower than it is in general. The baseline was lower then than it is now. And that's kind of what they promise should be the opposite.
As you were going through this, your body adjusting and withdrawing, and even to now, what are things that you wished that you had available to have someone walk along that with you?
Oh yeah, someone to talk to who had gone through it. And because I did seek what can I say, like companionship in Facebook groups and stuff, because I found some groups that were people who had come off the exact same medicine as I had. So that gave me hope, and also made me feel like I wasn't crazy for feeling all these withdrawal problems and things, that it was actually quite normal. So that was nice to have that like community. And I did think at the time I was really angry with the system, with how easy it is to be put on these medications without being really told all these things that they can cause, and how hard it is to get off them. So I was really like, oh, I want to write a book about this. I want to, get this out. But now I'm really glad I didn't, because it would have come from a place of anger and frustration and all these things.
Lower vibration stuff.
Yes, exactly. So I'm really glad that I didn't lash out or anything, because the doctors are also told what to do. It's not easy for them to know everything about everything.
Yeah.
But I do see that people are talking more about these things, which I'm so glad about.
But I want to put it out there that there is a space for righteous anger, and there's a season for it. Like, as I've been in the deconstructing evangelicalism thing, there's
Mm.
that space where you're like, I've been lied to. This sucks.
Yeah,
Why
true.
why did this happen? Who's in charge here? And it is a phase. It's a part of the journey.
It is.
So let's think about some specific aspect of your business that is specific blocking. Like, for example, putting yourself out there. Like, how do you put yourself out there to try to connect with your people?
Well, it's mainly in that app, that Insight
Mm,
Timer app.
right.
That is mainly. I do have a Facebook page for my business called Livsro. It's the business name, by the way, and it means calm life in Norwegian. I do have also Instagram, but I'm finding it a bit difficult to post and to be on there, because it's like I don't have a clear message.
Mm,
So that links back again to, what is my purpose?
mm,
What do I want to say? I find that to be what's stopping me, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
So there's just, maybe it's not true, but I feel like it's possible that in that anger that you experienced, and you're like, no, wait, I don't need that, because that's not the higher vibration. That's not what I'm going for. It might have blocked other emotions, even the good ones.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Like,
absolutely.
how to allow yourself to feel like, I lost years of my life that I could have been enjoying them more. I could have
Hmm.
been finding my purpose more. To allow yourself to feel that and sit in that, and that's probably a big part of the meditation journey, isn't it? Like, in shadow work and that kind of thing. Have you done any? I know the word shadow work. I know it's like connecting with inner child and looking at the hard parts. Have you done that?
Not like specifically calling it shadow work, but
Hmm.
it's we do these deep dives, you can say, into different parts of our bodies and the chakras, and it's just all about kind of accepting whatever comes up,
Mm.
because it can be very emotional. And I remember the first few months when I started this study, we used to gather for 2 or 3 days every 2 months, and every time afterward I was totally exhausted. I had massive headaches and so much emotions, and I was just totally wiped out afterwards.
Oof.
I was like, what is this? I was almost deciding to quit, because it was just too hard.
Mm.
um but I think that a lot of those things that came up was this suppressed stuff that was in me, that the medication had put how do you say, a lid on,
Oh.
and it just started to come out. And I think also that's what happened when I stopped the medication, because then I felt as angry as I have ever felt against everything and everyone, and as low as I ever felt. Like,
Mm.
I didn't want to be here anymore. Yeah, it was really, really dark.
I And
Yeah.
also, I'm living in Sweden. I
Yeah.
know this. I know the Swedish mentality quite okay. For about 6 years. You're Norwegian,
Yes.
so we're kind of cousins-ish. We're like step
Yeah.
cousins. Um, there's this Scandinavian mentality. Does Jantelagen extend to Norway as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
janteloven.
So
Yeah.
for our
Yes.
beautiful listeners out there, Jantelagen is this horrible Scandinavian, like, It's evil, man. It's just this like rules of lies. It's like, don't think that anyone cares about you. Don't think your problems matter. Don't think you're special. Don't think anyone thinks you're special. It's like the opposite of the American mentality.
Yeah, it's a bit like get your ass in line, you know.
Yeah.
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 Be in your box
Yeah.
where you
And
belong. Yeah.
and there's so many things about that that are just so hurtful to carry around. It's like, how do you just, yeah, cut that cord of just, no, I do matter. My problems do matter. My feelings are legitimate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
And I don't have to be
yeah.
in this box. Just because culture says that, I can be different. I can stick out. I can be weird.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit difficult to find your way if you don't feel you fit in the box you've been put or been told to be in.
Hustle culture is so prevalent on the internet as well. It's like, it's gotta hurt. It's gotta be hard. You've gotta wake up at 5. You've gotta drink gross green stuff. You've gotta go to the gym. You've gotta boom, boom, boom. Especially us entrepreneurs running our own business. Like, if it's not hurting, you're not doing it right. And
True.
then in the woo-woo side of things, it's just like, but you've got to look for your purpose and your goal and your dream, and if it's not daisies and butterflies and rainbows, you're doing something wrong. So we
Mm,
have we have like this triforce, Jantelagen, hustle culture, woo-woo culture, just making this cloud of gray, lack of clarity, lack of cohesiveness. Like, how do we integrate these things? And I feel like it's got to be a bit of a some finding the middle path between them of,
yeah.
yeah, confronting and being willing to be vulnerable with hard parts.
Mm,
Use listening to your wisdom and intuition of what's the right hard parts to share.
yeah.
But it's not just, oh, woe is me, I've had such a hard time, but this was the hard time. This is how people can relate to us, and this is
Mm,
where I'm at now. I'm not as far as I want to be, but I'm on the way there, and I can take you. We can learn and grow together.
yeah.
That can be a part of the messaging. And on the other side of that, what's the joy that you're experiencing now that you can share? What's the
Well, yeah.
release? What's the freedom that you walk in now that you didn't have before that you can share?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm the reason why I started with these antidepressant was because of PMDD, you know, this severe PMS,
Oh.
what do you call it, syndrome. And that's what started the whole thing. And I actually had an epiphany during a meditation that I have always been envious of boys, guys, that how simple they have it with they don't have any period, they don't have all these hormone shifts and all these things. So I was always very jealous. So I think I have suppressed my femininity and like been angry at being a woman. So now I'm thinking maybe that all came out through that severe PMS because I was trying to push away a big part of myself. So now I'm all about embracing being a woman, getting my period. I'm not like so angry and let's say disgusted about it like I used to be. Now I'm just like, okay, fine. My body's working. It's functioning in the right way since I'm getting my period. So it's actually a sign of health. So I've only just stopped my hormonal birth control as well, just 2 months ago, just to see how it all plays out. And I have to say, so far so good. So I'm
And
hoping it will keep that way because that is a I think a big message. If that is why I had such a hard time with with the PMS, and because I was suppressing a big part of myself.
Right. Can I pop in real quick?
Yes.
If this is too personal, we can cut it, of course.
Yeah.
But we had talked when we were first meeting, we were diving right into the deep stuff.
Yeah.
And it had come to the point of that you are pretty sure that you don't want to have children. And is that like part of it too? Like, why do I have to have this bloody thing when I don't even want this function of my body?
I have thought a lot about that lately, and I have come to a sort of a conclusion that I have never felt. You know, if you were in an office environment and somebody had a kid, they came over for lunch with their child, you know, newborn and everything. All the ladies were always like rushing to hold and to, you know, cuddle this little one. I never felt the need for that. And I have never did. And of course, there's a part of me who is scared that I'm gonna regret when I get older not having children. But I feel like that is such a massive decision to do. It's the biggest decision we make in life, and if I am not sure that I do want kids, then that, for me, the answer gives itself. Then no, then that's I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah. So in that connection there, is that also part of just repressing femininity? It's like you can still be a woman. Your womanhood is valid without wanting children. It's not the act of procreating that's like, oh, now you're a woman. Let's have a you're a woman party. Um, or like trans women that are totally valid and never having a period.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, and you know there are lots of women who can't have kids. Does that
Exactly. Like
make
they
them
want
less of
to
a
and they
woman? Yeah.
can't. So they're valid and their want is valid and
Yeah.
their bodies are valid. Um, you have so many things that are realizations that are overcome moments of overcoming that are your journey in motion. You don't have to wait till you're like, I know for certain I don't want kids before you can start sharing that message out there.
True.
You don't have to have everything set in stone because nobody is set in stone. We're all evolving, ever evolving every day. When I listen to this podcast, when I'm editing it, maybe 2 months from now, I'm going to be a different person than I am right now.
Very true, very true.
So
And we do the best what we can at this moment with the knowledge and things that you know that we have around us. We do the best here and now.
do you
Yeah.
have pictures of yourself when you were on your medication and you kind of don't recognize the look in your eye? You kind of don't know who that person is.
Probably. But I
If
haven't
you
looked.
So this is something that you could do is you could share. I've seen lots of people on Instagram kind of share their stories in like part one of five. And so they have like 5 posts planned out and with a picture and text over it.
Yeah.
That's one way that you could do it is like, this is me 2016. I don't recognize this person. I wonder what's going on in her mind. Like, however you tell stories, but you can break it into bits. You can just share about your meditation in the morning. How it's been like to work your way up to being able to be still for longer. How hard it was in the beginning to just be like thinking about my shopping list. You know, you can offer tips and and you can speak to that younger version of you that needed to hear that. Some people just like really need to be validated that it's okay to not want kids and to still be like struggling with that, but I'm still struggling with, am I making the right decision? Just being the real version of you now, speaking to that version of you 4 years ago is powerful and it's worth it. you never know who your stuff is reaching. I've had people reach out to me for my vlogs on, I'm dropping my notebook. I've had people reach out to me in my vlogs on YouTube, and they're like, it means so much that you shared that. I don't feel alone anymore. I wish I'd had you as a friend when I was a young mom and I
Mm,
was overwhelmed.
mm,
You never know who things are reaching. Some people are too shy to share when something matters, but
mm.
it matters. It always matters to put something good out there, something real from our real story out there.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And I have to say, I do feel very comfortable talking about all these things because it's yeah, I can see myself some years ago, I would have probably felt ashamed about the whole thing and everything, and that is the worst feeling there is. But I feel just being open about it is just lifting that potential feeling of shame, that if
Right?
I just talk about it, that can't exist. It's like the uh, how do I say, the antidote
Yeah,
to shame is actually just to share and be okay to be human, you
right.
know.
And it's like if you look to that version of you that was coming off of medication and feeling so like you would say like, don't feel ashamed. This is normal. You're beautiful. It will get better. It's
Yeah.
like not being ashamed of a baby learning to walk. Like, come on, get up, get up. You're ridiculous. Walk better.
Yeah, exactly. That's horrible.
But it's like using the ridiculous to point out the obvious. Like it's
Exactly.
nothing to be ashamed of in our struggles. They're what makes us human. What taught us compassion. What they led us to who we are now, so we wouldn't be who we are now without them.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Do you feel like you have some practical ideas of things that you can post and put yourself out there?
Well, I will definitely look back on this podcast and see that those tips that you came with, you know, making that story of who I was before and actually talking to me back then and what I wish I knew, and also um how much easier it would have been if I knew that this would be the outcome, you know?
Oh,
So I still have my ups and downs,
yeah, we all do.
but they are not as dark as before. And it's also like I can recognize that, yes, I've been here before, but I know I get out of it as well. I know that this horrible feeling don't last forever, and that has helped a lot to accept that, okay, it's really shit today, but I know it won't last forever.
Yeah. And you know what?
Mm.
Just because English reaches a lot more people, whoop-de-doo, try it
Yeah,
in Norwegian. Like try it for them. See who comes back. See who
yeah.
takes the time to respond and see what they all have in common, what links them together.
Mm,
And your people will start to form.
mm,
And then you can tailor more specifically to what they're looking for and what they're asking as you go. So you don't have to wait until everything is clear before you start. You just put yourself out in the ring
yeah.
and just trust that it's going to be okay.
Mm, yes, very
Yeah.
true.
Do you feel encouraged and inspired to in putting yourself out there?
Yes, more than let's say 35 minutes ago.
Hey! Well, thank you so much for taking this time. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your vulnerability. This is
Thank
some
you.
heavy stuff, and you're very brave to come and talk about it. And I'm really thankful that we can put this out and put this goodness and this light out there for others.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be vulnerable in a safe space, and no, I feel like this was the right moment. And even we just met online last week, I just felt like, yeah, we were meant to meet and do it.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So the way that I end my podcast is I give hugs.
Oh, thank you.
Hugs.
Hug
Talk
back.
to you soon. And
Yes.
thank you, wonderful listeners. I will say more to you later. Or just now because I'll be recording and editing. You know what I mean. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for being here, for listening to this conversation. And I hope that you will check out Janne, connect with her if you feel like you would be a good fit for each other. I will put all the links to the ways that you can connect with her down below in the description or show notes. If you'd like to be a guest on this podcast and connect with me and share from your struggles with the hopes of having me speak into that, let's make it happen. The goal from these podcasts is that I can connect with people who will want to work with me long term. I have come up with a 7-week clearing plan, talking to 7 different issues that we can have blocks about in this whole process of finding our story, connecting with our people, and actually making a sustainable social media habit. And I am so excited to jump into this. So I am putting that out there as well. I want to be a cheerleader. I want to be an encourager, an inspiration giver, and I want to see those blocks moved and those aha moments and those connections making. There's nothing like that feeling. If you would like to support the work of this channel, I have a PayPal. You can make a donation one time. You can do regular donations. This is a passion project that I have, and I would love to be able to do more and more of it. So thank you for being here, and hugs! Look out for the next episode. It's gonna be awesome.